All right, Raiders fans, buckle up because things are getting really interesting in Las Vegas, and there's a lot to unpack today. We got some updates that are sparking debate, especially around one very familiar name in the NFL, Tom Brady. Now, Brady isn't just a legendary quarterback anymore. He stepped into a new role as a minority owner of the Raiders, and that has opened up a lot of conversations about what his influence really means for the team. Some people have raised eyebrows because Brady has occasionally been spotted in the coach's booth during games, headset on, taking in the action as if he's analyzing it from the inside. And you know how that sounds. Anytime you mix elite football mind with access to a team you partially own, questions about insider information inevitably come up. Could Brady be giving the Raiders insights that other teams wouldn't normally share? It's the kind of scenario that makes football fans and analysts alike stop and think, because we haven't really seen this combination before in the NFL. Antonio Pierce, who was with the Raiders not too long ago, actually gave his take on this, and it's worth paying attention to. He shared that during his time with the team, Brady was an incredible resource. He wasn't just a name on the ownership roster. He was someone who could break down the game in a way very few people could. Pierce mentioned that he personally found it valuable to talk football with Brady, and that the quarterback's understanding of the game brought insights that were truly unique. Now, Pierce did acknowledge that he probably shouldn't spill too many details, but even with his caution, it was clear that Brady's input was something coaches and players respected and leaned on. Think about it. A player who's not only experienced at the highest level, but has studied every detail of the game can notice things in practice or meetings that others might overlook. That kind of knowledge is hard to come by, and when it comes from someone like Brady, it naturally elevates the conversation in the room. Of course, this also raises questions about fairness and competitive integrity. Teams are naturally protective of their strategies, and most head coaches would be cautious if someone in Brady's position had access to production meetings or practice observations. But there's no denying the fact that having Brady around provides the Raiders with a level of insight that is rare. Pierce highlighted how even a brief look at a Friday practice or a production meeting could reveal subtle tendencies and patterns. And when you consider Brady's ability to process and retain that information, it's not hard to imagine why teams might feel uneasy about this arrangement. Still, the official stance from the league and other coaches has been that Brady's role has restrictions, including limitations on in-person practice visits, which suggests there is some effort to keep things fair. But naturally, the conversation is going to continue, and fans are watching closely to see how this dynamic will play out throughout the season. Moving on from Brady, there's also positive news on the field that's worth highlighting. Jackson Powers-Johnson, the Raiders' versatile guard and center, is officially back at practice, and this could be a game-changer for the offensive line. The Raiders have struggled with consistency on the line, which has had ripple effects on both the passing and running game. Powers-Johnson's return could stabilize things in a way that improves protection for the quarterback and opens lanes for the running backs. His ability to impact both sides of the line makes him a unique asset, and if he's integrated effectively, it could make a tangible difference in the team's performance. There's always the question of whether he'll step straight back into a starting role or rotate in more gradually. But the fact that he's off the non-contact jersey and participating fully suggests the team sees him as ready to contribute. Now, this brings us to a deeper look at the offensive line's performance through analytics and game data. On paper, some rankings have placed the Raiders' pass protection unit around the middle of the league, but as anyone who follows the nuances of football knows, the numbers don't always tell the full story. Raw statistics like sacks allowed or pressure counts are useful, but they need context. For example, the Raiders have struggled to maintain clean pockets in situations with fewer blockers, often relying on 7-man protections rather than 5-man setups. That means the quarterback has fewer options for deep routes, and the offense loses some of its explosiveness. A deep pass can be completely neutralized if the line can't hold for the necessary seconds, and that has been a consistent challenge for Las Vegas so far this season. While metrics might suggest the line is average, the reality on the field shows the team has not had enough time to develop those big plays that keep defenses honest. In addition, when you look at rushing attempts and yards generated before contact, the Raiders rank quite low. The offensive line's ability to create separation and push defenders back has been limited, and this affects the running game significantly. It's not just about sacks or pressures. It's about the space and time offensive players have to execute. When those are restricted, the entire offense feels the impact. And this is where Powers Johnson's return becomes even more important. A center who can effectively control the interior line not only helps in pass protection, but also in creating running lanes, giving the offense a better chance to sustain drives and score points. This is the kind of adjustment that can subtly change the dynamics of games without ever showing up in flashy highlights. But it's critical for long-term success. So, as the Raiders continue to navigate the season, the combination of Brady's unique role and Powers Johnson's return sets the stage for some interesting developments. Fans are watching closely to see if Brady's involvement translates into measurable advantages on the field, and whether the offensive line can finally find some rhythm with its key players back in action. The storylines are rich, the stakes are high, and there's no shortage of angles to explore when it comes to Las Vegas football right now. Now, diving deeper into the offensive line, it's important to understand why the Raiders' struggles haven't been as simple as just bad play or poor technique. Football is a game of coordination, timing, and leverage, and the offensive line is the backbone of everything that happens on the field. Even small gaps in communication or minor misalignments can turn what should be an average play into a lost opportunity. This season, the Raiders have faced exactly that. The pressure has often come faster than the quarterback can adjust, forcing hurried throws or short completions that disrupt the rhythm of the offense. And it's not just about sacks. It's about the cumulative effect of pressure, hits, and the constant need for the quarterback to move in the pocket. It changes how you call plays, it changes how you design the run game, and it changes how defenses react. When you break down the numbers more carefully, the Raiders are giving up pressure in less than 3 seconds on a surprisingly high number of plays, and that's a real red flag. It's one thing to have a couple of quick pressures a game, but when it happens repeatedly, it limits creativity and puts a ceiling on what the offense can accomplish. The context around 5-man and 7-man pass protections is crucial here. Some teams trust their 5 offensive linemen to hold the edge consistently, giving their quarterbacks time to throw deep routes. Teams like the Carolina Panthers or Buffalo Bills are examples where 5-man protection works because of elite line talent. The Raiders, however, have been forced to rely on 7-man protections more frequently, which reduces the number of receivers running routes and limits options downfield. That's not necessarily a bad strategy. It's smart to give your quarterback time, but it's also a sign that the line hasn't yet achieved the trust and consistency needed for lighter protection schemes. And when you look at those scenarios in detail, you realize how much the Raiders' offensive struggles are tied to these subtle line issues. Deep passing concepts fail, designed runs get stopped in the backfield, and overall offensive efficiency suffers. It's a chain reaction where every small misstep magnifies the next. Now, let's circle back to Tom Brady for a moment, because his unique perspective as a former quarterback gives him an almost unmatched understanding of these dynamics. Brady isn't just watching the game as a casual observer. He's analyzing tendencies, recognizing schemes, and spotting mismatches in ways that most people, even seasoned coaches, might miss. His conversations with the Raiders staff, while limited in public information, suggest that he could provide insights on the subtleties of offensive line play, defensive alignment, and situational strategy. Imagine being able to anticipate what a defensive coordinator might do in certain down-and-distance situations. That kind of foresight is invaluable, especially for a team trying to integrate new pieces like Powers Johnson or adjust schemes mid-season. Whether or not Brady's input directly changes a single play, it adds a layer of understanding that the coaching staff can draw from, helping them make smarter decisions under pressure. Speaking of Powers Johnson, his return does more than just strengthen the line physically. There's a leadership element to his presence that shouldn't be overlooked. Offensive lines function best when there's communication, trust, and chemistry among the 5 core blockers. Powers Johnson's versatility allows him to move between guard and center if needed, providing flexibility for the coaching staff and helping to shore up weak spots that have plagued the Raiders early in the season. The team's ability to execute both run and pass plays improves when the center can control the interior line, identify blitzes, and make line calls. In a league where seconds and inches determine outcomes, having a player who can command the line effectively is a major advantage. If Powers Johnson settles in smoothly, it could stabilize the offense and allow the Raiders to start hitting the big plays they've been missing. Another angle to consider is how these factors influence the Raiders' overall offensive strategy. The lack of explosive plays has forced the team into a more conservative approach, relying on shorter passes, quick throws, and checkdowns to mitigate the pressure coming from the defensive front. While this isn't inherently negative, it limits the potential for momentum-shifting plays and makes it harder to sustain long drives. The offensive line's effectiveness is directly tied to the quarterback's ability to scan the field, wait for routes to develop, and find mismatches. When that's compromised, the whole offense suffers. Even when the scheme is well designed, a line that can't maintain pockets or open lanes reduces the margin for error. And as fans watch each game, it's easy to notice the missed opportunities, the near breakaways that never develop, and the plays that fall short because of insufficient blocking time. It's also worth mentioning that while analytics and stats offer valuable insight, they don't always capture the full picture of on-field dynamics. Looking purely at pressures, sacks, or pass protection rankings gives a rough snapshot, but they don't account for the context of the play, the defensive schemes faced, or the pre-snap adjustments made. The Raiders' offensive line might look average by some composite ratings, but when you dive into the actual gameplay, you see the challenges of balancing 5-man and 7-man protections, adjusting to blitzes, and keeping the quarterback clean long enough to execute complex plays. And that's where experience, intelligence, and communication become crucial, both for the players on the line and for staff like Brady, who can provide nuanced insights. So as the Raiders move forward, the combination of Powers Johnson's return and Brady's unique perspective sets up a season of potential growth, but it's far from guaranteed. The offensive line will be tested every week, and the ability to maintain clean pockets and open running lanes will determine how effective the team can be. Every small adjustment, every line call, and every mental read could translate into game-changing moments. Fans should keep an eye on how the line gels with Powers Johnson back in the rotation, how the team adapts to pressure situations, and whether the Raiders can finally start converting those opportunities into explosive plays downfield. It's a delicate balance, but with the right pieces and strategic thinking, there's a chance for noticeable improvement. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a move that has sent shockwaves through the NFL, whispers around the league have erupted into a frenzy of speculation. The Las Vegas Raiders are reportedly closing in on a historic deal to acquire Patrick Mahomes. Sources, who spoke on the condition of anonymity, suggest that the agreement could be one of the most significant transactions in NFL history, potentially redefining the landscape of professional football. Mahomes, the Kansas City Chiefs superstar quarterback, has long been considered untouchable, a generational talent whose arm strength, vision, and playmaking abilities have made him the face of the league. Yet, according to insiders, the Raiders' front office has pulled out all the stops in a relentless pursuit, aiming to pair Mahomes with their high-octane offense and promising young roster. The rumor mill suggests that the deal could involve unprecedented financial terms, along with a package of draft picks and star players that would make any general manager pause. The implications of such a move are staggering. For the Raiders, acquiring Mahomes would instantly vault them into championship contention, giving head coach Josh McDaniels a weapon capable of redefining their offensive identity. Meanwhile, the Chiefs would face the daunting task of rebuilding around the departure of their franchise quarterback, a scenario that seemed almost unimaginable just a week ago. Fans across the NFL are reacting with a mixture of disbelief and excitement, flooding social media with memes, analysis, and heated debates over how this could reshape the playoff picture for years to come. While neither team has confirmed the deal, league insiders report that discussions have reached an advanced stage, with lawyers and agents hammering out the final details. Speculation is mounting that an official announcement could come at any moment, potentially coinciding with the upcoming draft, adding another layer of drama to an already electrifying offseason. If true, this blockbuster move would not only shake up the AFC West, but also ignite a frenzy of trade rumors and quarterback speculation across the league. For now, fans can only wait and wonder. Could the Raiders really be on the verge of securing Patrick Mahomes, forever altering the NFL's balance of power? The buzz is undeniable, and the story is far from over. Every NFL observer is watching. Every analyst is theorizing, and one thing is certain. If this rumor proves accurate, it will be remembered as one of the boldest, most talked about moves in football history. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.